A week ago today, H. Ross Perot was laid to rest at the age of 89. While North Texans and the nation remembered a man known for his brilliance in business, two-time presidential hopeful and a giver, his family remembers the man most of us really didn't know. The husband, the father, and the grandfather who lived for his family, for his faith, and whenever he could, a really good joke.
The EDS team bought him a suit of armor. Okay, and Doug, I'm not kidding. Here's Dad in the suit of armor.
That's your dad right there.
That's Dad.
To know H. Ross Perot, the master of turning businesses into billions of dollars, is to know that he never let a chance to laugh pass him by, even if it was at church.
Everybody's serious in church, and so if it's a little too serious, Dad wants to stir it up. And that's why I put the fun names on the attendance book. We put John Wayne, Clint Eastwood, Elvis Presley. And my sisters would see it and start to laugh, and that's what he wanted.
The only son of Ross Perot tells me that growing up in the shadow of enormous wealth, Dad and Mom Margot had some pretty simple rules and expectations.
Number one, we always knew how much he loved us. Number two, we had boundaries.
And when Junior or any of his sisters would get out of line,
the way Dad would get to us is he would say, "I'm disappointed in you." And that's like, boy, that hurt.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to disappoint our parents.
when Perot took his self-built company, EDS, public back in 1968, the very next day, the North Texan was worth $350 million. But what didn't have any ounce of value in the Perot home was talking about it.
Everybody was talking about his money, and at home, we never talked about it. And then my father would say, look, money is a gift. It's a tool you can help other people with.
And helping others is a legend of their father that's on full display in Legacy Hall at Perot headquarters. From supporting POWs in Vietnam to current-day Special Forces troops in Afghanistan and countless organizations in between. And that same Naval Academy graduate who had a soft spot for veterans until the day he died had an even softer one for his 16 grandchildren.
He would drive every night. He got in the habit of coming by and seeing all his children and grandchildren. And he said, I just want to give everybody a kiss before they go to bed.
But after 89 years of a life well lived and shared, all the money in the world couldn't change the words spoken to the family in February of this year. Papa Perot had terminal leukemia.
It was a very, very difficult time for us to be there, and I think we were all stunned. And it took a few days for us to realize what this really meant.
In an instant, the decades of big business deals couldn't even compare to the priceless dances with his grandchildren, or the marriage based on faith and love for nearly 63 years with Margot, or some of the last words to be spoken between a father and a son.
And I told him how much I loved him. He told him how much he loved me. You know, I said, Dad, I'm so proud of you and what you've done for us. And then he said the same thing to me, how proud he was of me. And so for a father and son, we literally had almost nothing else to say. We'd said it all, and it was beautiful.
And so you know those words were spoken on Ross Jr. and his dad's last trip to their lake house, and that was just over 3 weeks ago. And Ross Jr. also shared with me in true Ross Perot fashion. Jr. told me that when he arrived at Dad's house that day to pick him up, his dad was dressed, he was ready, he was sitting right there on the couch. And when Ross Jr. walked in, he looked up at Jr. without missing a beat and said, "Son, you're late." Ross Perot. Mr. Perot's legacy, as we know, lives all across North Texas. Most notable, the Perot Museum of Nature and Science in downtown Dallas. Ross Perot, also a huge supporter of the Boy Scouts over the decades, an Eagle Scout himself. He has long funded the award, in fact, that every Eagle Scout receives upon achieving that rank. And that includes the producer of this very newscast tonight, Carter Brewer. Carter, in my ear, 2007 you said it was? Probably. 99. Oh, we're going way back.
Wow, you're
going
way back.
Carter got it in 99 and still has it to this day from Mr. Perot. So a salute.